Well, we're gonna take a look at what Drinker said about Kathleen Kennedy. So that's how I'm gonna break this up a little bit. We're gonna switch over from HLC with the current events, known source to current events, and we're gonna take a look at Drinker's video that he put out about Kathleen Kennedy. So let's just jump straight in.
One of the most hilariously ridiculous moments of 2025 had to be Schrodinger's Kennedy, who seems to have been living in a quantum state of fired, retired, fully employed, and battling for control of Lucasfilm for the past 5 years. Clickbait news channels and content creators have been confidently predicting her imminent departure since the days of The Last Jedi, and yet it seems.
And you know what? I'm pretty sure like the big ones too. Like Nerdrotic, Drinker, Geeks and Gamers, Disparu, Muller. I think they all kind of felt like they tried to maintain a neutrality on it, saying, look, they say she's leaving, but we don't know for sure. They did try to maintain that neutrality, but a couple times I think they slipped into a little bit of a ding dong, the bitch is gone kind of mentality, only for it to be snatched away from them. So it's like no content. I'm pretty sure I fucking did it too. I can't remember if when it first came out if I actually said, "Hey, the bitch is gone," or if I actually said, "Hold up, we've heard this before. We need to wait till she's actually out the door before we start popping the champagne." But multiple big content creators that have trusted voices all kind of at some point or another kind of just slipped into that, premature celebration, only to have it all yanked away. Now it's finally happened. Now the bitch is finally gone.
Seems that rumours of her career death were greatly exaggerated. Year after year, failure after failure, there she remained, the proverbial turd that just wouldn't flush. But then in early 2025, serious rumours began to circulate amongst mainstream news outlets that the long-awaited event was finally happening. Kathleen Kennedy was stepping down as president of Lucasfilm.
Yeah, it absolutely came too late. You're right. Like this cheering?
And then she
absolutely came too late. She basically stepped down and left behind multiple franchises that were nothing but smoldering piles of rubble in her wake. She's already destroyed everything at Lucasfilm. It's her departure is she is basically her departure is a villain's departure. After laying waste to everything before her, villain Kennedy has walked off and left destruction in her wake. She has destroyed Star Wars. She destroyed Indiana Jones. She destroyed Willow. Like everything she touched literally turned to ash. Like, it's why I didn't really, I was debating whether or not I was going to watch this one, because realistically, it doesn't matter. Star Wars is dead. Indiana Jones is dead. Willow is dead and fucking disappeared from the face of the fucking platform. Willow was so bad, they literally yoinked it off at Disney Plus, and you can't even see it anymore. She's already destroyed everything. So it's like, okay, great, she's retired, but there's nothing left to save now that she's gone.
She wasn't. It all got so ridiculous that she actually had to issue a statement angrily denying the rumours, reassuring everyone that she'd never stop producing movies and that she had no immediate plans to step down as president. Because if there's one thing you need to understand about Kathleen Kennedy, it's that she'll leave when she's goddamn good and ready. Not a second before, and she'll leave under terms of her own choosing. She was never going to get fired, she was never going to get demoted or sidelined, and she was never going to be politely hurried out the door. She was too
because she fit in perfectly with the Disney ideology. Disney has become all about the DEI. Disney has all become about the girl bossing at the expense of story. Disney has been all about the message, or I should say it as the drinker, the message. And she was all about that too. Disney was not inclined to fire her because she was doing exactly what Disney wanted. It's the direction Disney has gone in, and she was actually basically the poster child for Disney's message. They were never going to fire her. They loved what she was doing. It was exactly what the rest of the whole fucking company was doing. There was never any threat. Like the only one that was a potential threat of firing her would have been if Lucas said, "I want the franchise back," and of course that wasn't going to happen. I do remember hearing something about him I remember hearing a rumor about him wanting to buy Star Wars back, but I think that all got debunked. But yeah, she is Disney. She is Disney, and Disney is she.
Powerful. She was too well connected, and she was too female to ever face actual consequences of her actions. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the rumours were actually true, but because they stole her thunder and all the celebrations exposed just how unpopular she was, she decided to stay on just a bit longer out of pure fucking spite.
Yes, yes.
But hey, I guess you can only fight the clock for so long, and the new year brought a new batch of rumours from Matthew Filoni. Matthew. At Puck News that after 14 not particularly glorious years at the helm, Kathleen Kennedy is finally stepping down. Again.
Oh shit. Here we go
Yeah.
again.
Or is she? I mean, Jesus, after more false starts than a fucking Ford Escort, I'm very much in the camp now of, I'll believe it when I see it. At this point,
Yes.
it feels like she'd rather
Correct.
stay on until she dies of sheer old age, and then hang around for a few weeks beyond that, Weekend at Bernie's style, before she'd ever...
Well, of course she would. Why wouldn't she? She's getting a massive paycheck from Disney. She has massive levels of... Considering Star Wars, she has unlimited power. Fitting with Star Wars, why would she retire? The only reason why she would want to retire is because she's bored of it. And she's like, you know what? I don't want to work. I don't feel like working anymore. I just want to retire and just do nothing and live in wealth, leave with my golden parachute of millions and just retire and not do anything. It's only when she wants to do that is she going to get out. That's the only reason why she's going to get out. Otherwise, she's going to do everything. She's going to stick around and try and basically drill these franchises so deep into the ground that they're going to reach the Earth's core.
Give anyone the satisfaction of reporting on her retirement. But what the hell, let's humour the rumour and see what young Matthew has for us here. So Kennedy's due to announce that she's stepping down as president of Lucasfilm at some point this year, apparently. When? Don't know. Will she
By the way, I'm pretty sure that this was also... Oh wait, I think Drinker was just referencing that, whereas like she's stepping down at the end of 2020. Okay, he already referenced that, yeah.
retire completely or move into a producer role so she can more directly fuck up the films under her control? Unclear. What is clear from the report is that someone has to step in and replace her, and who might that be? Well, the most
Filoni.
obvious and also perhaps the least inspiring choice imaginable.
Yeah.
Dave Filoni.
God, do you guys remember when he was like Saint Filoni, the patron saint of Star Wars? Like, what was it? Basically, back when he was doing like Rebels, everybody loved Dave Filoni. That when he was working on Rebels, everybody's like, this guy can do. Oh yeah, during those times, during like the Clone Wars days, during the Star Wars Rebels days, people were thinking like this guy could do no wrong. Because both of those were very well received. He did a good job with them. They were very entertaining. They were very good stories, and people loved what he did. And he became the patron saint of Star Wars, along with oh God, what's his name? Fuck. Oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. Help me out. Favreau, thank you. Yeah, him and Favreau were supposedly like, yeah, like John Filoni was like the patron saint of Star Wars. Favreau got a little bit of that when he did the first season of The Mandalorian. After Favreau did the first season of Mandalorian, people were like, oh, Favreau knows what he's doing because the first season of Mandalorian was actually pretty damn good and was very entertaining. And then basically Filoni and Kennedy started muscling Favreau out and basically pushing him to the side and taking over the good shows like The Mandalorian, and then they did, we saw what happened with fucking Book of Boba Fett. We saw what happened with Ahsoka. That was all Filoni. So he started off as like the savior of Star Wars when the new stuff started coming out and Filoni said he was going to be in, people were like, oh my God, Filoni's going to save everything. And then what happened? He literally turned into the very thing that people were afraid he'd turn into. And muscled out the guy that was actually trying to do right by the franchise. They muscled Favreau out. And then Filoni took over along with Kennedy, and they just royally fucked it all up. And now nobody trusts Filoni with anything. They don't trust. They basically think he's just as bad as Kathleen Kennedy. And yeah, like Rodriguez worked on Rodriguez did Book of Boba Fett, but Filoni was above him Filoni was above him making the decisions. Like Rodriguez's director, I believe, if memory serves, Filoni was the producer of it. So he was basically making decisions and overriding Rodriguez if necessary. So he absolutely had his hand in Book of Boba Fett. Well, and yes, like with Filoni, season 1, I think Filoni was in on the first season, but Favreau was the primary creative control in the first season of Mandalorian. After the first season, Filoni started muscling out Favreau. Because there was a big thing about that where Favreau was pissed because Filoni and Kennedy were basically shoving him to the side to basically take over Mandalorian. And that's why we saw the Mandalorian starting with season 2 start that slight decline. And then you had like 2.5 with Book of Boba Fett. And then by season 3, it went into the fucking toilet and nobody cared. And now he's doing The Mandalorian and Grogu, which nobody's going to go see. Absolutely nobody gives a shit about because think about it, there's no buzz for The Mandalorian and Grogu. Nobody fucking cares anymore. Because The Mandalorian has gone off a cliff and was just run into the ground, just like every other Star Wars franchise. And that's largely due to him. He is like the creative lead for Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy is the president of Lucasfilm, but he is the creative lead for Star Wars. He is in charge of basically all of Star Wars. And they've run it into the ground. And so now people see that Filoni's in charge of something and they immediately assume this is going to be a pile of dog shit. Immediately. How far he's fallen. And thank you for the subby, Bell Tower.
Well, technically Dave Filoni and Lin-Wen Brennan as kind of co-presidents, because let's be honest here, the idea of that fucking retard running an entire studio by himself is like putting Kim Kardashian in charge of the United Nations. Now, as far as rumours go, it's definitely one of the more believable and less outlandish options available out there. We all knew Filoni was being groomed. Still feels weird saying that one in a Hollywood context. As her successor for years now. From Kennedy's perspective, he probably seems like a safe bet to carry on her legacy. He's not some wild auteur filmmaker who's gonna make crazy creative decisions, that's for sure. And he doesn't strike me as some hard-headed, tough-talking go-getter who's gonna reshape the entire studio and do things his way. God.
Yeah, it's James Cameron is I don't know. It's like he talked about having this grand master plan for Avatar, and then the latest interview, he actually like held a press conference about like the second trilogy of Avatar, and it was something like, I don't know if he even wants to do it anymore. Like, he literally held a press conference about that. James Cameron is the guy who basically believes his own hype to the extreme. James Cameron basically like believes his own hype and thinks he's like this he basically considers himself the grand auteur. It's James Cameron's not that great. He used to be. He used to be like James Cameron used to do great things, and now it's like he took the T2 hype and then just took it to just rocketed it. And that it's he's been writing that ever since and thinks that he's basically the greatest thing since the studio clapper.
Hey, god damn it! He's a solid, predictable company man who's been part of the Lucasfilm system for like 20 years now. He knows how to play the game, and he's probably become very good at kissing Kennedy's ass and telling her exactly what she wants to hear. He was handpicked by George Lucas himself back in the day, so there's a kind of tenuous continuity with George's original.
Okay, hold up. He was handpicked by George Lucas. Cool. So is Kathleen Kennedy. That's a distinction that needs to be made. Talking about like, well, Dave Filoni was handpicked by George Lucas, and George Lucas also handpicked Kathleen Kennedy. And we saw what happened there. Yeah, George Lucas is another one who basically his ego took him on a fucking journey. Lucas's ego, that's why the prequels were lampooned so much, is because when Lucas did the prequels, there was nothing holding his ego in check. And so he did the prequels, which were universally panned, which now actually seem pretty damn good in comparison with the sequels. But yeah, let's not pretend like Lucas does not have a massive fucking ego on him either.
Vision there, another big plus that helps to sell him to the fan base. Ahsoka, with its endless girl bosses and stoic female leads, is definitely proof of his feminist credentials, so that's another massive plus for Kathy.
Put a ticket in and make a name gay!
And after working together for so long, they probably have the kind of personal relationship where he wouldn't object to a bit of creative input from her once in a while. Gotta make sure he doesn't start getting ideas of his own and forgets to push the message. Now, I don't know if I can apply the word creative to a man like Dave Filoni, but it's probably the most accurate description of what he's theoretically good at. But one thing he definitely doesn't understand is business, hence the inclusion of Lin-Manuel Brennan to handle all the thinky stuff. Again, this kind of makes sense in theory at least. Brennan is the current head of Lucasfilm business, and as far as I can tell, she comes mostly from a technology and visual effects background, working her way up to become head of ILM before transferring over to Lucasfilm. She'll be overseeing the corporate and executive side of things, allowing Dave to do what he does best, like... Again, as far as rumours go, it does have a grain of logic and common sense to it. Admittedly a tiny one, but a grain nonetheless. Whether it'll actually happen, or whether Kennedy will once again decide she's not quite ready to leave the spotlight, is anyone's guess at this point. I mean, she did say previously that she wanted to go out on a high with a big win to pad her ego and reassure herself that she's not the hapless diversity hire retard that everyone believes her to be.
That's a pipe dream. If her condition for leaving is going out on a high and a win, she's never leaving. Yeah, she will never leave at that point, because with Kathleen Kennedy in charge of Star Wars, and Star Wars being Kathleen Kennedy being in charge of Lucasfilm, and Lucasfilm being under the umbrella of Disney, she's never going out on a win. She will never get a win. Point blank. Thank you, J10. Thank you for the tier 3. So yeah, she's never. So if she's sticking to that condition of I'm gonna go out on a win, she's never gonna go. Yeah, she's gonna be there, not simply just poking the rotten corpse of Star Wars, literally like backhoeing the earth underneath it to go even deeper as much as possible. Dude. You have hope for it, Mike? I saw the trailer and I don't have hope for it. I saw that what I saw in the trailer, which is supposed to get me hyped up, was a lot of Grogu. A lot of the puppet, a lot of the goofiness, the dialogue did not inspire confidence whatsoever. I don't think it's going to go well. I legit don't think, like, because don't forget, instead of doing a season 4, they're doing this film. they were going to do a season 4 of The Mandalorian, but because the ratings for season 3 were so horrific, they said, okay, we can't do a season 4 of Mandalorian, but we can't just put these characters out to pasture, so we're going to do a feature movie for them instead. And it doesn't look like it's going to be great. It looks like there's gonna be a great deal of focus on Grogu. Excuse me, and it looks like they're gonna be doing a lot of like goofy shit with Grogu. It's just I don't have confidence in it. I really don't. Plus, like, how long is it gonna be? Plus, Pedro Pascal is probably like moving on from Star Wars. Like, I'm guessing he was contractually obligated to come back for the film for it to be the voice of the Mandalorian. I don't see him doing any more Mandalorian films or Mandalorian anything after this movie. Because Pedro Pascal is probably like done with it. I think he's moved on. He's now, I think his focus is now on basically Mr. Fantastic and Fantastic Four. And he's just like, I don't want to do Mandalorian anymore. And so, what the fuck do you do then? It's, you change, Pedro Pascal, realistically, his voice is an iconic voice when it comes to The Mandalorian. It is his voice.
Pretty
because
soon
with the
Pedro
character,
will be thrown to the gutter like every other Hollywood shill that sells themselves to be in everything.
that's totally besides the point. But with the Mandalorian, because he doesn't have a face, because he always wears his helmet, his characterization is in his voice. And if you don't have Pedro well, maybe they'll AI it. I don't know. But if you don't have Pedro Pascal voicing the Mandalorian, you're gonna have a hard time selling it. I mean, maybe you could get a sound-alike. I'm sure there are plenty of voice actors out there that could maybe do a sound-alike of Pedro, but I don't know. Well, no, that's what I mean, Revan. He spent a lot of time in the VA booth for The Mandalorian. But the question is, like, is he just done with it? Does he not want to do The Mandalorian anymore? And does he just want to basically focus on being Reed Richards? I don't know. But I would not surprise me if he basically just wants to just fuck off from Star Wars.
I'll assume that win might come in the form of Season 2 of Andor, which didn't exactly rock the world of filmmaking to its core, but it did at least get a great critical response. But I guess not. Then again, we do have the Mandalorian movie coming out in a few
here we
months,
go.
and as far as Star Wars projects go, that's pretty much the biggest thing they've got on the horizon. But if she's holding out for an epic critical and financial win from that thing, well, she might be around for a long time to come in that case. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Christ, Grogu! Yeah, it's just... Yeah. If she's waiting to go out on a win, she's gonna be there till she dies. Because I'm sorry, I don't see her getting a win anytime in the near future.